Hey guys, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles! In the last episode, we started the investigation for day 2, and we had a little chit-chat with Herlock about Van Ziegs and why he hates Japanese so much, but he wouldn't tell us. And also, he seems to have a new way of investigating things, so that's also pretty nice. So I guess there's nothing much to tell. So let's just move along to Mr. Shamspeare's room, which is the scene of the crime, and see what Herlock has in stock for us. (22nd February), Mr. Natsume's lodgings, ground floor. Oh, hello again, Inspector Gregson.
What are you doing here?
Well, we were hoping to have another look around, actually.
The lawyer representing the defendant has a right to examine the scene, as I'm sure you're aware.
Yeah, I know the score.
Oh, yes, one other thing. The soap on the ledge outside the window. Did you find it? With a tea in it?
Yeah, we found it alright. And there was a small amount of tea in it, as you said.
I knew it.
It's with the identification section at the yard now. They're looking into it. The result should be available later today.
That's wonderful news. Thank you.
Pretty impressive performance in court this morning.
Sorry?
Nothing. Forget it. Just make sure you don't disturb anything in here.
There's Herlock, alright. So, we're gonna examine the crime scene, of course. We'll start with the window. The sun never shines in this room thanks to that depressing bricked-up window.
Yet without enough determination, you can always remove the bricks to set some soap outside, can't you?
That sounds like a very wise life lesson, Mr. Sato.
Only if you plan to follow a life of crime, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, that is unfortunate. Okay, we're not gonna talk to Herlock immediately. We're gonna have a look at the teacup, which I forgot on the first day of the investigation. And erroneously ran around town without knowing what to do. But that's it. This case is a little cursed for me, as it seems. Whatever. At the ill-fated teacups from which the two men drank on the ill-fated night.
During their heated literary debate, yes.
Who's stronger, Romeo or Juliet? It sounds like it was quite a discussion.
Now I think of it, I'm sure that the two lovers in the play ended their lives with poison.
That's fiction, Mr. Sato. Let's hope it stays that way. Okay, let's have a look at the soap.
So it turns out that Mr. Shamspeare wasn't eating the soap at all.
That's right. The mystery of why he had it on a plate whilst holding a fork in his hand is solved.
Yes, to prize his latest ice coin out of its mold. And in the process, he accidentally broke the bar of soap in two.
It certainly was hard to imagine, let alone deduce. Yes. Okay. Let's have a look at the gas meter. If you ran out of change, you wouldn't even have any light, let alone heat. For the needy, London's winters can be very harsh.
That's true, but if you think about it, even the wealthy would find themselves freezing if they ran out of small change.
London's winter can be very harsh for the forgetful too, then. Frankly, I'm starting to wonder if Sato-san and I are going to make it to spring.
That's true, we don't even have a meter at Baker Street, let alone a gas stove.
Look how dark the stain on the floor is underneath the meter there.
Yes, from all the water dripping out of the ice coins melted, as established in court this morning.
It's a very large and obvious stain, isn't it?
Mr. Shamspeare must have used an awful lot of ice coins, I suppose.
It was an ingenious idea, I'll give him that. Okay. So the lamp, we can't establish anything new with the lamp. Anything here? No, it doesn't seem that way. what about... Okay, so nothing here either. So let's talk to Mr. Gregson once again.
Are you looking for new clues, Inspector?
On Lord Van Zeek's order, yeah. Don't come back till you've got something for me, he says.
Oh dear, poor you.
Yeah, poor me, because we've already searched every bleeding nook and cranny in this place. I don't know what he expects, to be honest. Thank goodness for warm chips is all I can say.
Well, at least he's honest. So nothing from Mr. Gregson. That means it's finally time for Herlock. Mr. Sholmes, what are you up to over there?
What a question indeed. Was it not your good self who asked me to attend the scene? Oi! What are you doing here, Sholmes? What are you up to over there? What are you doing here? Dear me, once a great detective, one is always under scrutiny, it seems.
Is now the time, Mr. Sholmes? Are you about to show us your forensic talents in action as you promised?
With the greatest of pleasure, my dear madam.
I'm so curious. Okay. What's he up to? What's all this?
All this is precisely what you requested, Mr. Naruhodo. Look, Sholmes, a sensational skin print seeker gun. Moments ago, I took a sample from the teacup that was used by the victim.
A sample from Mr. Shamspeare's cup?
Each individual leaves microscopic secretions on everything he or she touches. A sample of those secretions is all I need to produce this, a refined indicator solution. By liberally spraying the room with this chemical, everything the victim touched is instantly revealed with the aid of these goggles. Here, try them on. There now. Spray the chemical indicator about and all will be revealed.
Spray? How do I do that exactly?
A little press of space on the area you're interested in is all that is required, like this.
Ah, what is that stuff? It's like fog.
A suspension of the chemical indicator in a pressurized gas. It's the most efficient way to cover a large area. There was another invention I discovered incidentally whilst I was developing this idea.
As you do.
Go ahead, try it, my dear fellow. We may learn something interesting about the victim's movements on the night in question.
Well, there's nothing to lose, I suppose. Let's explore. So, if you remember, Ace Attorney... yeah, the very first game, the last... Rise of the Ashes or something it's called. The last case in the very first game of Ace Attorney. There's also Emma and we spray for blood. And this is pretty much the same thing. So I'm just gonna spray here as much as I can. And maybe here too. A little bit here, a little bit there. Look, there are dozens of handprints here.
So there are, a great many indeed, so much so that it's hard to make out any individual print in fact.
But it sends a chill down my spine.
Perhaps he was leaning against the wall while he admired this picture.
Unlikely, I would say. It's a rather dull scene after all.
And without wishing to state the obvious, you wouldn't generally admire a picture from such a close quarters, I feel.
Oh, very true, Mr. Sato. It's a bit of mystery then. So we are supposed to spray even more, huh? Maybe here at the window. Where else could be? Oops. Wrong button? B is just for that. Okay. Look, there are dozens of handprints here. But we already had that. What are we supposed to... What else are we supposed to find here? Music is great, by the way, as always. Capcom just nails it with music. It's any Capcom game has such great music. They do know how to recruit talent in that regard. Look, there are dozens of handprints here. What am I supposed to do on that, though? Am I missing something? Oh, look at all this here.
Yes, interesting. A multitude of the victim's handprints.
Why are there so many of them on the floor in this spot?
Oh, perhaps he had a bad fall just here.
There's nothing obvious that he would have tripped over, though, is there?
I wonder. Personally, I often stumble when there's nothing obvious to trip over.
I think that's something only a great detective would do, Mr. Shawns.
Well, this is quite a puzzle. Handprints all over the floor.
Yes, there's no obvious explanation. Well, we sprayed Mr. Sholmes' amazing skin print indicator all over this room, didn't we?
We did, but there are two places in particular that are of interest, I would say.
The handprints on the floor here. And on the wall by the picture, you mean?
Yes, and I think the floor warrants closer investigation. I won't be a moment.
Ah! What is it, Mr. Sato?
Look here, Mr. Naruto. One of the floorboards has popped out.
One of the... You mean... It's a secret hiding place?
Excellent work, Mr. Sato. So what do we have in here?
Oi! What are you looting?
What are you lot doing here?
Inspecting Rexon.
Stand aside right this minute. It's my job to investigate there. No need, Inspector. You continue to dig into your portion of chips whilst we dig around under the floor here. Your fence talk's putting me off my food anyway, Storms. And your bit of evidence is exactly what I need.
Wow, secret hiding place under the floor. What a find.
It It's not a hiding place you could make use of in Japan. I don't think I could lift a straw tatami mat.
No, I know, but I never expected one of those wooden floorboards to move either. It's got me wondering about the wall over there too. Aren't you curious?
Oh, I'll investigate it once.
Yeah, you go, girl.
There's nothing behind the picture, sadly. Only the wall.
How disappointing.
But then how do you explain the handprints?
I really can't think why anyone would have been touching the wall over and over in one place like that.
There you are, a print for you.
The photograph of the handprints on the wall has been entered into the court record. Handprints on the wall. Traces of handprints on the wall. The scout using the skin sprint seeker's gun. There are multiple prints on either side of the hanging picture. Oh, thank you very much. His invention can make prints too. Now then, I wonder if Inspector Gregson has found anything under the floor there.
I'm desperate to know.
So am I.
That means we are to examine him, but you know me. Okay, we can't. Okay, we can't investigate, but we can talk to him. Is there anything else? No, there isn't. Okay, I'm not gonna futz around. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna talk to him. I'd love to know if there's anything hidden underneath that floorboard there.
Allow me to ask Gregson now. After all, we're well acquainted. Inspector Gregson, really, it's been too long. What is it, Jones? I thought perhaps you might show me what you found there, seeing as we're such good friends. We're not friends. No, I suppose not. A dismal failure.
Yes, I heard. Oh, I'd kill to know what was under that floorboard.
Alright then, fair's fair.
What?
You did discover the hiding place after all. I suppose I should at least fill you in.
Really, Inspector? Thank you!
Do it quickly, my dear fellow. If there's one thing I know about this man, it's that he blows with the wind, as fickle as the weather.
Oi, stop making me out to be some kind of nut!
There were 3 items under the floor there. A newspaper clipping, a photographic print, and a tin box. Now, what do you want to know?
Well, let's talk about the newspaper clipping first then.
Looks like this was cut out of the paper about 3 months ago. It's about a convict who got sick and died while he was serving time up in Manchester.
How terrible.
It made the headlines down here in London as well. The bloke had been sentenced to death, you see, but nature got him first.
Oh my goodness, he committed a capital offense?
Man by the name of Selden, nasty piece of work into burglaries and murder.
Sorry guys, I had to sneeze. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm back.
They say the hoard he'd knocked off was worth about £1,000.
A hoard of treasure, you mean?
Jewelry and the like, but he'd hidden it somewhere, no one knows where, and now he's dead. The papers loved it, of course. £1,000 lost en route to hell, or some such was the headline. Does it not strike you, though? Why such an article would be so carefully ensconced under the floor? I suppose now you mention it, it does seem a bit odd. Perhaps I'll go over the paperwork we've got on Selden back at the yard and see if I could turn anything up.
The capital offender article has been entered into the court record. Capital offender article, newspaper article about Selden, a criminal sentenced to receive the death penalty. However, he died of illness in prison whilst his loot remained undiscovered. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the photographic print next.
So this is the photograph I found. Looks reasonably recent to me.
That's Mrs. Green's fiancé or friend. Huh.
Yes, it would appear to have been taken on the street in front of the house there.
And the gentleman on the left is Mr. Garridap, the landlord, of course. But who's the young man on the right? Mr. Garridap's son, perhaps?
Perhaps. You can take that print if you like.
Really? Are you sure?
We can presume, therefore, that the yacht already knows. The identity of the young fellow, that is.
Oh, is that true?
Well, it's too bad if we do. Unfortunate for you lot, leak information isn't one of my pastimes. My dear Inspector, if I may be so bold as to point something out. Pastimes are for one's leisure, but this is for work. All the more reason I'm not telling you! Dismal failure.
Yes, I heard. The hidden photograph has been entered into the court record. The photographic print found in Mr. Shamspeare's room. It shows the landlord, Mr. Garrett, together with a young man. And I'm pretty sure that we already saw that young man. I wonder why a photograph like this was hidden under the floor. I mean, Mr. Shamspeare himself isn't in it.
Photographic prints are still a rare treasure in the East End. I imagine Mr. Garrett was rather delighted to have been immortalized. He probably made a proud president of it.
So we can also just ask Mr. Garridap, of course. He is just above us. Tin box. Let's talk about that.
Now, this tin box looks interesting, doesn't it? Might I suggest, Inspector, that you open it? If you were to find something inside that reveals the truth behind this case, I wouldn't be in the least surprised. Yeah, funnily enough, I've already had a look. It's completely empty. What? Shamspeare? Give us a clue, man!
You didn't even have the chance to utter a word, Mr. Naruto. But anyway, at least we found out what's inside the box.
Yes, thin air. It's empty. Rather like how I feel inside. Is there nothing more to this box then? I wonder. For sure there is. There must be.
Oh, Vakahai! Oh, look! It's that lovely kitty cat! What was its name?
It's Mr. Natsume's, isn't it? I don't think we ever asked him, actually. Why don't we call him, Wakahai? You know, like Mr. Natsume refers to himself in Japanese. I wonder how he got in here. Clever cat.
Oh, wonderful! Well then, Vakahai, here's something delicious I bought for you from the cat's meat man.
Oh.
He couldn't be happier now, look!
I just hope we can bring some happiness to his owner, too. Alright, so we can examine. Once again, nothing there still. We could talk to Inspector Gregson, but there's no need to. Let's pet Wakahai. Aww. That was a cheeky little meow, Wakahai.
Oh, but he's so adorable! I could sit and watch him forever.
I think he may not appreciate that after a while, and we have an investigation to get back to. Yeah, okay, but Wakahai came from here somewhere. So there must be some... I mean, it's a little strange that this set piece is set here. And it seems like Wakahai came from behind it, so that means there is a link to the outside. Or the saloon, or whatever. So that's a little bit strange. Look at these extravagant. Yeah, we had that already, so we're gonna skip across that because I misclipped. I just wanted to look around, and I don't want to use the keyboard all the time. This is a mouse game for me. It's point and click. I like that kind of games. But it doesn't seem like we can do anything more here. But we are nearing the half-hour mark, and it's not really worth it to start another room right now because it would take too long. So therefore I think that we just go to Briar Road for a second, because we already have investigated everything here. It's 22nd February, Briar Road. So we could examine here, and we will just get, yeah, it's all check marks, all check marks, all check marks here. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to go to Mr. Garidab. 22nd February, Mr. and Mrs. Garidab's room. But we're not gonna start the conversation here because I'm planning on showing Mr. Garidab the photographic print, and I'm pretty sure that we've seen this person, we've seen this young man already. He also has brushes and stuff, so he is somehow linked to Miss Green, the victim of the Kokoro case in the first game, and he was also featured on the photograph in her hospital room. So I'm pretty sure that we will also learn a little bit about him in the hospital room and from Mr. Garidab. And we also want to have a look at the condemned criminal dies of natural causes in prison headline or article in the newspaper. Manchester's Strangeway prison announced the death of convicted murder and burglar Selden by natural causes in the early hours this morning. He had been suffering with fever since the end of October. Alerted by the shouts of his fellow cellmate, medical staff arrived to find him already dead, before his capital punishment could be carried out. Little unfortunate, although he, of course, yes, he is a criminal, but And also this is very strange. This is also very strange. There must be something behind that wall somehow. Or, we didn't get the tin box, so we can't check that out, unfortunately. But since we've neared the half-hour mark already, I'm going to call it quits for this episode, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Resolve. See you then.